And we are back yet again. What's good? What's going on with everybody? Shout out to the whole BINO Nation. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. Appreciate you guys for rocking out with me. We got a little bit of a touchy subject to talk about. And I'm pretty sure that we have individuals in the clouds that can't chat in the chat room because they have been banned or excommunicated, because every time I'm on a panel, they're always telling me about what I said on my show. So I know for a fact that they're here. And I know they're going to have an issue with what I'm about to say, but we're going to address it anyway, because I'm tired of the foolishness. I'm tired of the hypocrisy. I'm tired of you trying to make me the villain of your story when you're actually the villain of your story. You're actually the villain of the community. As much as you want to pretend that you're pro-black, you're not pro-black. You're not pro-black. You're just white supremacists and blackface, but less effective. That's really what you are. And you know who you are. You know exactly who you are. But before we get into any of this, make sure you guys are supporting the show. Y'all already know how we do over here. We try to get at least 10 contributors to be part of the BINO roll call at the top of the show. If you want to be part of the BINO roll call, all you have to do is drop 20 or more. We will read your messages first. And anybody that wants their messages read immediately throughout the show, all you have to do is be a sponsor or a super sponsor of the show. If you want to be a sponsor, all you have to do is drop 100 or more. If you want to be a super sponsor, all you have to do is drop 500 or more. Your message will be read immediately. Your name will be added to the ticker, and you will forever have the gratitude of the BINO Nation for supporting the platform. But while we're waiting on those individuals, because I think so far we already have 5 people. Let's see. Yeah, we already got 5 people, so we only need 5 more people. So while we're waiting for the other 5, let me just go ahead and address what's been going on lately. Do me a favor, guys, and press a 1 in the chat if you have seen my recent back and forths with individuals on Trey the Truth Teller's panel. Also, if you've seen the hateful rhetoric in the chat room calling me a coon, a sellout, anti-black, all of these goofy things. See, here's the wonderful thing, because I'm going to address this once and for all. In fact, I'm going to break this down so it will forever and consistently be broken, because here's the interesting thing about this. There are many of those individuals that love to come to the chat room and make statements about me. But here's the thing. As much as you try, as much as you want to paint this narrative about me, the reality is I'm smarter than you, way smarter than you. And every single time you try to do this, all I'm going to do is expose you. That's all I'm going to do, because in our community, there are a lot of black people that are, quite frankly, full of shit. And the more time marches on, the more we move towards black people being in a totally different space, drastically different from the Jim Crow era or anything that preceded that, a lot of you niggas are getting exposed. A lot of you are getting exposed for being the very same hateful, racist bigots that you claim you don't like. Now I know you want to try to make it seem like, oh, well, I should get to do that because they did it to me. Well, by that logic, you can't even be that. That's a non sequitur. That logic doesn't make sense. Because if you're justifying your actions, like, I'll give you a prime example, right? If you're justifying your actions by saying that, well, they did it too, you're saying your actions is right. So if your actions are right, their initial actions were right, which means that you shouldn't have been mad at it in the first place. See how that paradox works? But I'm going to go a little deeper into it. So yesterday, I told everybody, I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go live and I'm going to show the video of Jeff Metcalf. And just to be spiteful, just to be petty, I'm going to point out every single time he said something accurate about you niggas. Now, the reason why I said I was going to do this is because, like I said, y'all desperately want to make me your villain. Desperately want me to be your villain, right? Which you don't even realize what you're asking for. You don't even realize me. If Angryman was truly a sellout, if I was truly anti-black, that would be like Yoda if he turned to the dark side. That would be like that elder elf on Lord of the Rings getting the ring of power. That would be like Gandalf getting the ring of power. You don't want me to be that. You don't want me to be that because there is nobody in these spaces that is more intimately familiar with all of your hypocritical pseudo pro-black bullshit than me. The last thing you want is me on y'all's ass. That's the last thing you want. I promise you. But you keep jumping in the chat room, trying your best. Angryman anti-black. Angryman this. And I don't know how many times I got to say this. I don't know how many times I got to say this. I really don't understand why y'all exist in such cognitive dissonance. I don't know why you keep protesting about me being anti-black, because even if I was, no one gives a shit that you don't like it. No one cares. Even if I was, which I'm not, but even if I was anti-black, no one gives a shit that you don't like that, because there really ain't nothing you can do about it except sit around being mad, stewing in it. That's all you can do. Because here's the reality. And this is the realest shit I'm ever going to say to you niggas. This is the realest shit that I could ever say to you niggas. If you really are as pro-black as you claim you are, and you really believe that America is so racist and so corrupt that we're teetering on the edge of a racial war. If you really believe all of that shit, and you really bout the movement to the point where you love black people, you love your own people so much, and you're ready to go to war about it. If that's really your mentality, if you really about that action, then you got better things to do with your time than try to convince me of anything. You should be somewhere setting off the revolution. I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna put it in more simple terms. If you really are about all of that shit that you goofy ass niggas get up here on YouTube poking out your chest, talking all of that shit, I don't care about them white folk, I don't care about them. If you really about that shit, what you should do is, instead of arguing with me, another black man, about the fact that I should be believing in your cause, what you should do is shut the fuck up arguing with me and set it off and spark the damn revolution. But you ain't gonna do that, are you? You ain't gonna do that, are you? Because you ain't really about that action. You think complaining about shit is the same as doing shit. So you'll come here and you know what you're like. I'm gonna tell you what you're like. I'm gonna tell you what you're like. You're like Smokey on Friday. The moment Debo leave, you got a whole lot to say. You'll talk all that shit all day long to Craig, to Red, to everybody that you feel like ain't a threat to you. But when Debo show up, you shut the fuck up. See, if you believe in all of the stuff you believe, then you know for a fact that I'm not your enemy. See, the thing about pro-blackness is I actually come from that. So because I come from that, I can actually take your bullshit and twist it around on you. So here's the reality. If you truly believe in the pro-black movement or the fact that we're at war or whatever, then you know good and damn well that it don't matter what I'm talking about. Because what I'm talking about, according to your logic, what a black man is capable of doing, according to your logic, is not consequential. According to your logic, because every time, see, here's the funny thing about you pro-black niggas, because this is what I notice about y'all. What I notice about y'all is not only are you supposed to be quote unquote pro-black, which really is pro-black woman. And what I notice is what you try to do is you try to use pro-blackness to disparage black men. Didn't think we noticed, right? So I've heard numerous pro-black individuals on YouTube talk about, well, the problem with you black men is you ain't got no power. Well, if we ain't got no power, why you give a fuck about what I'm talking about? If we don't got no power, why do you care about what I'm talking about? According to your logic, I don't have any power. So since I don't have any power, I do not affect your life. But according to you, them white folks affect your life. So if they affect your life, then explain to me why the hell you arguing with me every day instead of getting at them. I tell you why. Because you're a bunch of armchair revolutionaries. You're a bunch of running your motherfucking mouth bumping your motherfucking gums, but you ain't gonna bust a grape in a damn fruit fight. You will argue all day, go back and forth with your own damn people because you know there ain't no real consequences when you do that. And we gonna get to that later. But the reason why you don't show up and deal with them white folk is because you know they ain't gonna play with you. You know they ain't gonna play with you. Because if you do something to one of them, you know what they're going to do? They're going to fast track your case, hit you with 35 years, and they don't give a damn if you sit in that courtroom and cry about it. They don't give a damn if you stand outside of that courthouse and try to manipulate and gaslight and everything in the book. They don't care. Hey, you know they out there complaining. Yeah, well, don't, long as they stay their ass out there. The moment they come up in here complaining and raising hell, you know what to do for them. See, here's the interesting thing. The interesting thing is whenever I try to deal with you Negroes the way we as black people culturally deal with each other, that's when you niggas show your ass. Let me say it again. I'm going to say it again. Whenever I deal with you niggas on the level of blackness, whenever I deal with you from the cultural perspective of I'm a black man, you a black man, we brothers, let me deal with you that way. That's when you show your ass. That's when you try to fuck me over. It isn't until I deal with you the way white folks deal with you that I then get some fucking respect. Now ask yourself, why is that? Why is that? Why is that? Because I'm going to tell you some real shit. For the past few days, I have been on panels and you niggas have came up with every excuse, every story, every reason known to man that this nigga should not have been convicted. Y'all have gaslit, you have manipulated, you've done everything in your power. And I'm going to tell you some real shit. I'm not even going to front. I'm not even going to sit here and say that I'm not susceptible to it. Peer pressure is a mother. You get to having conversations with niggas and they get to, well, come on, brother. You know how they do us. Come on, black man. It ain't right that they did X, Y, Z, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. Man, he was just a kid. He shouldn't lose his life over a mistake. It was just a kid that got killed, too. And I've been trying my best to figure this shit out. How can you be black and have an entire history fraught with all sorts of turmoil for the simple fact that other groups of people refuse to acknowledge your humanity? And your response today is to be a nigga that refuses to acknowledge somebody's humanity. Explain to me how that works. Your entire plight comes from the fact that other groups of people historically refused to acknowledge your humanity. But yet here you are right now today acting as if this boy taking this other boy's life don't matter. You're never going to get around that. I don't give a damn if you want to argue about how long the knife was. I don't give a damn if you want to argue about castle law and stand your ground and it was in Texas and it was in this jurisdiction and don't nobody give a damn about none of that shit. You can cry all day long about jurisdiction. It don't matter. At the end of the day, a high school student had an altercation with another high school student. At the end of the day, a high schooler asked another high schooler to leave from under his team's tent. And the result of that, even if he did push him, was the other team pulled out a knife, stabbed him in his fucking chest, and he died. You're not going to get around that fact. You're not. You're not. Could you imagine? You're somewhere in the grocery store or at your house watching TV, and you know for a fact that one of your children is going to a football game or a basketball game, a family-friendly event, and you get a call, yeah, I'm calling to let you know that your son has been stabbed and he may have passed away at a damn family event, at a track meet. Could you imagine living in a neighborhood that has a fairly low crime rate? You think you did what you were supposed to do. You think you did what you were supposed to do. Right? You live in a decent neighborhood, decent school district, don't have no type of foolishness like this going on. And then you get a call because your child got stabbed as if you were still living in the damn ghetto. And it just so happens the person that did it now guess what? If you're white and you say something like, this is the entire reason we don't want them living in our communities, you're going to automatically be called a racist. You're going to automatically be called a racist. Automatically. You're going to automatically be called a racist. But would you be wrong to feel that way? If you have been living in a nice community, yo people, you ain't never lived in the hood, and you're black, you live in a predominantly black neighborhood that is upper middle class, right? And then all of a sudden, some white folk from the trailer park start moving into your neighborhood. And one of them gets into it, one of their kids gets into it with your kid. And your kid end up losing their life. What's your first thought going to be? Your first thought is going to be, this would have never happened if that trailer trash wasn't in this neighborhood. That's going to be your first thought. That's going to be your first thought. I don't give a damn who you are, because I got news for you. I got news for you. I got news for you. If something happened to my kid, if I know I done worked my ass off as a black man to live in a nicer neighborhood, well, I don't got to worry about stray bullets. I don't got to worry about people breaking into my shit. I don't got to worry about none of those things, right? And then one day I'm standing out there watering my lawn. And I see a freaking U-Haul truck back up into one of the houses. And right behind it is a big box Chevy with big ass wheels. I'm talking about the big ones, the clown wheels. And he pull up, whoop, 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 whoop. Tell them people call the Reverend. Bah, bah, bah. Cause no weapon formed against me shall prosper, yeah. Bah, bah, bah. This nigga hops out the car with the blunt. Got the dookie locks. And I done worked my ass off my whole life to get away from niggas like that. And here he is, right across the street. Number one, I already know I'm going to have problems out of this nigga. Already know. Ain't going to be no neighborly shit where I can be like, hey, fam, could you turn the music down? Hey, I know y'all having a cookout, but you're blocking the street. Like, bro, you can't block the street. It ain't going to be none of that because he going to have an attitude. He going to have that Karmelo Anthony, you can't make me do shit attitude. See, this the shit y'all don't want to talk about. This is the shit y'all don't want to talk about. Y'all want to ignore this? Nigga. Turn it up on a Tuesday. On a Tuesday. And why? Because he was not. This is what my grandmother used to say. My grandmother used to say, you ain't got no home training. See, home training is when you grow up in a household where your family actually teaches you proper etiquette. Everything ain't for everybody, and there's a time and a place for everything. You don't do everything everywhere. Because guess what? You can call Jeff Metcalf racist. You can call them people in Texas racist, and maybe they are. Maybe they are. But two things can be true at the same time. Two things can be true at the same time. Because guess what? If that same neighbor of mine is up there cutting up and the police show up and arrest him for some shit, let's say he hustling or doing something he ain't got no business, and we all standing out in the yard watching him get arrested, there could be a white guy across the street looking, and he's thinking to himself, he didn't belong in this neighborhood anyway. Now, if you heard that white guy thinking that, you'd be like, damn, he racist as hell. But here's the funny thing. I'm thinking the same shit. Me and every other decent black person that worked their ass off to be in this neighborhood is thinking the same shit. Take that shit back to the hood, nigga. Take it back to the hood, bro. And I know there's some of you folks that's in the clouds that can't chat in the chat room. You in here right now talking about some, listen to him. He's so anti-black. Listen to him. Listen to him. He just hate his own people. I don't hate people. I hate behavior. I'm going to say that again. I don't hate people. I hate behavior. I hate behavior. Because here's the interesting thing about this shit, right? Because I was going to cook today. I was going to pull up Jeff Metcalf's video and I was going to point out every single thing he said that was 100% right. Now, the racist comments he made, I don't agree with those. That watermelon felon, that was crazy. That was nasty work. He was wrong for that. He was dead wrong for that, right? But I realized, and here's the other thing I could have did. I could have did a whole expose. I could have just pulled up Jeff Metcalf's video and broke down why he was wrong for going off the way he went off. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? What's the point of doing that? What's the point of doing it? What's the point of doing it? What's the point of doing that? See, here's the thing that I realized. When I was over there on that panel, every time I go to those panels, right? Every time I go to those panels, there's always a bunch of people in the chat room saying, Angryman a coon, Angryman a sellout, Angryman is anti-black, Angryman this, Angryman that. Y'all see it. When I go over there, it's certain people in that chat room, they cannot exist in that chat room without saying my name. They are triggered and bothered by me. Part of it is because they get banned from the chat room over here. They're not allowed to come over here, right? That's one reason it bothers them. The other reason it bothers them is because of this. And this is why they call me all of that shit, right? See, it doesn't matter if I were to go on a pro-black spree. I could do 10 videos a month for 10 months, for 10 years, praising black women. And start off the videos with, the black woman is God. Like, I could do all of that. I could do 10 videos for 10 months, for 10 years, that are the most militant, pro-black videos on planet Earth. it ain't gonna matter. And I'm gonna tell you why it ain't gonna matter. It ain't gonna matter because you want me to be perceived as anti-black. You want me to be perceived as a black woman hater. You know the reason why? Because you hate the fact that I'm right about the behavior. You hate the fact that my extremely analytical, logical, articulate ass with my huge following is right about the behavior that you want to pretend doesn't exist. You don't like the fact that I'm airing out your dirty laundry. And so in order to combat this, because you can't combat the shit I'm saying, because you know I'm telling the truth. Because I'm from the hood. I'm from the ghetto. All of that goofy shit you niggas is engaged in, I used to do it. So you can't lie to me. I'm not one of these white folks you can gaslight. I'm not one of these people outside the culture you can say, that's not what it is. That's a stereotype. You can't say that dumb shit to me because I know it. And you know it. And you know it. That's why last night when I was going back and forth with a certain individual and I said, bro, let me ask you this question. Y'all have set up here and told all of us black folk that are conservatives that say we don't want to live in the hood that we're sellouts and we're coons. So every last one of us black folk that are conservative, that make a decent amount of money, that don't want to live in the ghetto, y'all say that we're sellouts and coons and that we're no longer black. So if that's true, why y'all don't view the Anthony family like that? Because they damn sure moved to a community that's predominantly white. You know what he said? Because it ain't the fact that you moved, it's if you changed your mentality. Bullshit. 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 First and foremost, the fact that you moved, according to these niggas, means your mentality changed. The fact that you moved, according to these niggas, mean you don't want to be around them. Y'all can try that shit with somebody else. I know my people. I know how y'all get down. I know how y'all operate. And that's the reason why so many of you have to call me anti-black, have to call me a coon, have to call me a sellout, because you're trying to convince people that I'm not worth listening to before they listen to me, because you know the moment they hear my voice and hear what I have to say, they're going to be like, Angryman is right and you full of shit. That's what you're trying to avoid. So the last thing I'm going to do is come up here and try to pander to you pro-black niggas, because I already know you're being disingenuous in the first place. You know I'm not anti-black. You know I don't hate black women. You know all of this shit. You just want to present it that way to discredit me, because you can't defeat none of the shit I'm saying. You can't defeat nothing that I'm saying. Not a single solitary word. I know it hurts your feelings. I know it makes you upset. But see, I asked questions that niggas couldn't really answer. Because according to niggas' logic, Karmelo Anthony and his family should be sellouts. Why is the black community defending sellouts? Why are you doing that? The only reason Karmelo Anthony was even under a tent with supposed suspected racists is because he was in a predominantly white neighborhood in Texas. How did he get in that predominantly white neighborhood? His parents moved to that predominantly white neighborhood from the hood. One could make an argument that the shit would have never happened if they hadn't moved there. Now, before anybody tries to tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about, answer this question for me. When Karmelo Anthony was under that tent that was predominantly white, at a school that's predominantly white, in a county that's predominantly white, because his parents moved to a predominantly white neighborhood, and some racist shit allegedly happened, and he had to go to court and be convicted. Why didn't you tell Karmelo? Why didn't all of you niggas in the hood tell Karmelo and his family that that was his nigga wake-up call? Same way you told Bill Cosby it was his nigga wake-up call when you ignored them prosecuting him. Or the other countless black folk that y'all claim are sellouts, that you don't defend, that you say just got their nigga wake-up call. Why didn't this classify as the nigga wake-up call for the Anthony family? Based on your logic. Based on your logic, why didn't this classify as the nigga wake-up call for the Anthony family? Why you moved to Frisco instead of Dallas? There's black areas in Texas. Why'd you move to the white area? It's just a question. It's just a question. And by the way, last night's conversation, that's the last time I'm arguing with you Negroes about this Karmelo situation. That's the last time I'm arguing with you Negroes about this shit. Not arguing with you about it no more. At all, because your logic is flawed. It's flawed. I don't know why. Matter of fact, I do know why. I'm not stupid. I know the reason why. I know the reason why y'all chose to be outraged about this. It ain't because you feel bad for Karmelo Anthony. This was just an excuse for you to show your ass. That's all it was. It was just an excuse for you to show your ass. That's all it was. This wasn't about justice for Karmelo Anthony. This wasn't about helping his family. This was about publicity. This was about the opportunity for you niggas to show out. This was about the opportunity to express your own brand of racism in a justified manner. See, I don't know if y'all notice or not, but black folk can't wait for some racist shit to happen. You know why they can't wait for some racist shit to happen? Because once something happens that's even perceived as being racist, it gives them the justification to engage in their own racism. Now, some of y'all might say, well, wait a minute, Angry Man. Why would black folk need a justification? Well, because we're mostly brought up as moral individuals. So you can't just be racist. You got to have a reason. You can't just be bigoted. You got to have a reason. So niggas will spend the whole year with the thoughts in their head about white folk swimming around. And in the moment something happened and they posted on the thing, white cop shoots unarmed black man. I knew it. I knew these white folk. You didn't have to wait for that to happen because you already felt that way. You already felt that way. And look, and look, I'm not pulling no punches from Jeff Metcalf. I ain't pulling no punches from him neither. All that shit he said, he been wanting to say it. He been wanting to say it and probably has said it behind closed doors. All of y'all be looking for your reason and your excuse to say some justified racism. And my thing is, if that's how you think, just own it. Stop looking for an excuse. Just own the shit. Just own it. And here's the thing, right? Let me say this. I gotta say this. To the brothers that jumped on Trey's panel to go back and forth with me, right? And to the people in that chat room that had so much to say to me, let me first apologize. My bad, y'all. To all of the black folks that was arguing with me on panels about this Karmelo situation, to all of the black folks in the chat room that felt like I'm anti-black because I'm not on Karmelo's side, I'm sorry. I don't have the same visceral hatred that you have for white folk. I don't. I don't hate them to the point where I'm just walking around waiting for them to do the least little thing so I can snap out about it. I don't. I don't hate them as much as you do. So you got to forgive me when I don't want to sit back and engage in some, I don't care nothing about that white boy. He got what he deserved. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's nasty work. That's nasty work. He got what he deserved? And see, here's the funny thing. It's funny how y'all try to clean it up because you be trying so desperately to not be your slave masters, but you're just like them. You'll try to clean it up by saying he got what he deserved because he put his hands on him. No, nigga. Tell the truth and shame the devil. Stand on it 10 toes down, because what you really think and what you really want to say is he deserved it because he a white boy. say that shit, because that's what you mean. That's what you mean. You think I don't know? That's what you mean. Because you want to make all the white people of today pay for what the white folks of the past did to the black folks of the past. And you think you justified in it. You think you justified in it. You see what I mean? This is what I mean right here. This is what I mean right here. So this person said, this person in the chat room, Dominique said, they are the devil. They can't tell the truth. Yeah, because you don't display no type of devilish behavior. Can y'all answer this question for me? Can y'all answer for me how niggas refuse to have children after they're married, rip and run the streets, raising all types of hell, sell drugs to their own people, shoot their own people, engage in all sorts of criminal activity, fornicate, pretty much break every commandment in the Bible, and then turn around and say somebody else is the devil? Could somebody please explain to me how the hell that works? When did you niggas start thinking that you were the saints of the universe? When? You niggas don't even like each other. You don't even like each other. But then you'll come in here and be like, these white folks they the devil. What are you? What are you? Because you damn sure ain't no angel. You damn sure ain't like, bro, what are we talking about? Devil? Are you serious? You got young black men that are out here taking each other out like it's a game of Call of Duty. They'll be running around telling we up on the ops. We 3 up on the ops like it's a video game. You got young women that go down to Planned Parenthood like it's birth control. How many black lives have been lost just due to gang activity and Roe v. Wade? But you niggas gonna sit here and say that you ain't a devil? Are you serious? If that ain't the pot calling the kettle black, the fact that y'all would even fix your mouth to refer to somebody else as a devil, you can't be serious. You can't be serious. There's absolutely no way that you say, see, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you what's so funny about this. This is what's so funny about this. You niggas have been gassing each other up and blowing smoke up each other's ass for so long. See, this is the reason. Matter of fact, Will, you in here, right? Will, this is the reason why they don't like me or you or Anton pointing out the dysfunction of the Black community. The reason they don't like it is because they sit around lying to each other 24/7 so that they can create an illusion that they're good. This is why these niggas can say with a straight face, this other group of people are devils, while they sell crack to each other, while they try to shoot each other, while they can't even live in the same house with the person they had kids with because they fighting each other, damn near about to take each other out. They walk outside, see another person that look just like them and say, fuck that nigga. Like, this is why they don't want us pointing this shit out, because they are comfortable in their delusion that nothing that they do is wrong. They are comfortable in that delusion, and the last thing they want is for you or me or anybody to pop that bubble. Because they have convinced themselves that they are righteous. They have convinced themselves that they are the gods of the earth. In other words, infallible. And so what they do is they ostracize any Black folk that don't want to go along with the lie. That's why you'll see the Mark Lamont Hills, the Torreys, the Dr. Umars, all of these niggas blowing smoke up each other's asses, pretending like they don't never do shit wrong. Pretending like the community don't never do nothing wrong. See, that's the agreement they have with each other. You know where they learn that shit from? They learn that shit from their matriarchal structure. They learn that shit from the women. You ever notice how the women will lie to each other? Like they have this agreement with each other where you'll have one chick that's a hoe, and then you got another chick that's overweight, and their unspoken agreement is the hoe never says nothing about the other chick's weight, as long as the chick that's overweight never says nothing about her being a hoe. That's where these niggas learn this shit from. That's where these niggas learn this shit from. I'm not going to say nothing about how you refuse to raise your kids as long as you don't say nothing to me about how I'm selling poison to the community. It's what these niggas do. That's what these niggas do. And you know as well as I do, when you got those two women, the last thing they want is another person showing up to tell them both about themselves. That one, she don't want you saying anything about her being a hoe. She don't want you saying anything about her being overweight. So they have to be around other people that have that same arrangement. It's like that scene on Family Guy where everybody gives each other the head nod, like, They get around each other, and everybody has a dysfunction. And the unspoken agreement is, I won't say nothing about your dysfunction if you don't say nothing about my dysfunction. That's how the Black community works. You're not allowed to point out their dysfunctions. You're not allowed to have no standards. You're not allowed to do any of that shit. Because if you have standards in the Black community, there's a whole bunch of shit we can't do. There's a whole bunch of shit we can't do. Like I'll give you one. I'll give you one standard. If Black people were to set the standard and say, from now on, Black men will never marry any woman unless they're a virgin. Guess what? Now the vast majority of you black women can't get married. If black women said from now on, I'm not accepting no marriage proposal from no dude that make less than $50,000 a year. Guess what? There's a whole bunch of you dudes that can't ever be husbands. See, the reason why you cannot have a standard in the black community is because you niggas ain't shit. And the bar is constantly being dropped just to facilitate your bullshit. Every year, it drops lower and lower and lower. And those of us that got enough damn sense to say, hey, man, we can't keep lowering that bar. You about to destroy the culture, fam. It's getting bad out here. Oh, shut up. You don't know what you talking about, nigga. Let them lower that bar some more. Because if you keep the bar up here, I can't feel good about myself. So we got to lower it so I can feel good about myself. No, you don't lower the bar to feel good about yourself. What you do is you stop being a raggedy nigga. That's what you're supposed to do. But we don't do that. We don't expect black folk to stop being raggedy. What we do is we come up with justifications for their raggediness. We ignore their raggediness. And then we had a nerve to turn around and try to blame the white man for what the black community looked like. It ain't the white man's fault, it's y'all. It's you lowering the damn bar. Because how the hell was we able to have thriving communities during the Jim Crow era? Under all of that racism, you had black families, you had intact family units, you had black communities, you had family structure, you had decency, you had standards, you had dignity. You know why you had that? Because them black folk back in the day wouldn't let you lower the bar. Oh, you a teenager and you got pregnant and you ain't married? send her ass down south. Send her ass down south. Because we don't even want nobody to know that shit happened. Oh, what? Little Ray did what? He got caught trying to rob a bank, and now he's going to prison? Send his ass down south. Hey, where's Ray? We ain't seen him in a while. Oh, he went to go visit family. Ray on the phone. I want to come back home. I don't like it down here. It's too country, dog. Nigga, stay your ass down there. Stay your ass down there. Come on, I've been out of jail. I've been out of prison for a year now. Why I can't come? No, stay your ass down there. Because you don't know how to act. You don't know how to act. See, there used to be a time where if you cut up too much in your family, the family sent a message around. How do I know this? Because I had a cousin, an older cousin, that was my grandmother's nephew. And all he ever did was cut up. All he ever did was stay in some street shit. You know what my grandmother used to tell me? If he knocks on that door, don't let him in his house. Same thing my aunts said. Same thing my uncle said. Nobody in the family fucked with him. He was excommunicated. You want to act a damn fool? You want to cut up? Go do that shit somewhere else. You can't do it here. Go do that shit somewhere else. But nowadays, we don't do that. Nowadays, you niggas is celebrating the niggas that act like that. When they go to prison, you out here proud talking about some, yeah, my homie, little pistol starter, he down right now doing a bid, but he coming home soon, and we gonna turn up when he come home. You niggas ain't shit. I'm saying it. And I don't care how many of you raggedy niggas don't like it, because at the end of the day, if you don't like what I'm saying, you not the type of nigga I want to be cool with in the first place. If you got a problem with anything I'm saying right now, you ain't nobody I want to be cool with anyway. Now, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Because I don't know when it happened. I don't know when it happened. But at some point, all of you raggedy niggas decided you're the arbiters of the rest of us. When did that happen? When did Pookie and Ray Ray and all the drug dealers and criminals and felons and prison bid doers, when did y'all become the leaders of the black community? When did y'all become the arbiters and the deciders of what us decent black folk do? When did that happen? You ain't the deciders of shit. You a bunch of bums. That's why you always defending bums. I'm gonna say that again. You a bunch of bums, a bunch of you a bunch of crumb bums, a bunch of to the curb raggedy bums, and that's why you always defending bums. Niggas is actually up here on the internet defending a nigga that went to a teenager that went to a high school track meet and stabbed somebody in the chest. You defending that shit. You defending it. And coming up with every excuse in the book to justify defending it. Talking about some, oh, he got 35 years. That ain't right. You know how he could have avoided 35 years? He could have got his black ass up and left out from under that damn tent instead of trying to prove to everybody he was Billy Badass. That's how he could have avoided that 35 years. I'm tired of this sugarcoating shit with you niggas. He could have avoided that 35 years by getting his narrow ass up and walking out from under that tent and going about his merry damn way. But he didn't. He decided to show everybody he was Billy Badass. And guess what? Guess what? Now he about to be kicking it with all of the Billy Badasses. Because that's what they do. They have a place for Billy Badass. It's called prison. Should have got his ass up and left. But no, I'm a stab this dude in the chest because he don't got no right to tell me to leave out from under their tent. I heard niggas saying he had a legal right to be there. Man, shut y'all stupid asses up. Shut up. He had a legal right to be there. Shut the absolute fuck up. You sound stupid. Because guess what? As much shit as you want to talk, there's only one problem with your logic. You said he had a legal right to be there. Yeah, there's only one problem. He had a knife, and that was illegal. So technically, he did not have a legal right to be there. Technically, his ass shouldn't even been on school grounds because he had a weapon. Dumbasses. Even if you have the legal right to be somewhere, if you are committing a crime while you are there, you're no longer legal. What you're doing now is illegal. Niggas sitting here talking about he had a legal right to be under that tent on school grounds carrying a weapon. Do y'all even hear yourselves? All because the little niglet look like you. But you think you different than them white folk. Because I guarantee you, here's the funny thing. This was so funny. If the roles were reversed, you would be going just as hard in the paint, just in the opposite direction. If the roles were reversed, you would be online right now complaining about the fact that Austin Metcalf only got 35 years. He should have got life. They should have gave him the death penalty. Did you see what he did? It was a track meet. It was kids in a high school, and this racist white guy decides to stab Karmelo. Niggas would have shirts with Karmelo with the angel wings and the whole nine. We can't even send our kids to school, to the track meet, without these racist white people taking their lives. This is a travesty of justice. No justice, no peace. This is a shame. No kid should ever go to school and have to worry about being stabbed in the chest. Over what? Over a seat? Over a seat? All he did was ask him to leave. All he did was ask him to leave. But he pushed him. Pushed him? Are you serious? So just because he pushed him, that means he got to stab Karmelo and take his life? Come on, man. And the funny thing is, you niggas think we don't know that's what you would be saying. We know. Are you serious? You niggas would be out there. I can't believe this. Did you hear about what happened? Did you hear about that monster, Austin Metcalf? Nah, what'd he do? Well, they were at a track meet. Karmelo was under the tent with his friends and his classmates. And this guy, Austin, came under the tent. He walked under the tent. He claims he was trying to get out of the rain, but we know that's bullshit. He went under there to be an agitator. He saw those black kids just minding their business, and he wanted to be a problem. So he goes under there, and he sits down. He claimed he knew one of the kids, but come on, he's a white guy. How would he know him? And so they asked him to leave. 15 times they asked him, and he just wouldn't leave because they think they own everything. And so Karmelo, the brave soul that he is, he got up in true leadership fashion and he asked Austin nicely, hey, man, you don't belong here under this tent. This is for the team. You got to leave. And you know what that racist said? He said, touch me and see what happens. I swear the white privilege is it's ridiculous. He said, touch me and see what happens. And he put his hand inside of the bag. And when Karmelo felt like he was being aggressive, he tried to physically move him, which is what he should have did. And this monster pulls out a knife, stabs Karmelo in the chest. What kind of world do we live in where that type of barbarism is just okay? It was a track meet, for the love of God. Why? Why? You would think after all of these years, it's like Dr. King and Brother Malcolm X, they fought for nothing. Sound about right? Sound about right? But because it was Karmelo, a black kid, that stabbed a white kid, it was just a mistake. He's just a kid. He's just a kid, and it was just a mistake. And we gotta forgive because it was just a mistake. They're kids. He's just a kid. Just a kid, right? Because watch, it's going to happen. Oh, trust and believe. In the future, there's going to be an incident where some white kid does something to a black kid, and you watch the flip-flop. You watch how the shit changes. You watch how it goes from that wasn't self-defense. Watch. And this was so goofy about these niggas. I said it the other night, and I'm going to say it again. The funniest thing about this is damn, I forgot what I was getting ready to say. I was reading something. Forgot what I was getting ready to say. Hold on, it'll come to me. Damn it. He said because you was cooking with that hot grease. What was I saying? I was saying there's gonna be an incident where there's gonna be an incident where it's gonna be somebody white that does something to somebody black. And the change up is gonna be crazy. The change up is gonna be crazy. And they're gonna have a justification for it. They're gonna have a justification for it. You can believe that. But bro, the problem with this whole scenario, this whole situation, is they just refuse to acknowledge the fact that this kid lost his life over a disagreement. Oh, that's what I was going to say. And the funny thing is, the same people that is making this argument, they don't even realize you have just justified every single matter of fact. Get your recorders ready for this one. To every last one of you niggas that's pushing the Karmelo Anthony self-defense argument, saying that because Austin put his hands on Karmelo, that justifies Karmelo taking his life. For every last one of you making that argument, you just justified years, decades of police brutality. Let me say it again. You just justified decades of police brutality. So now every single black man that was shot by a police officer, and that black man was unarmed, you've just justified that. Because all they got to say is that they feared for their lives the same way Karmelo Anthony feared for his life. You just justify Mike Brown. Mike Brown is huge. He was huge. And that was the cop's excuse. The cop's excuse was that he was big and that he was afraid for his life. That's literally the police defense every time. Every single time they shoot an unarmed man, they always say they was in fear of their life. And I sat back this past week and I listened to you niggas say, well, Karmelo was afraid for his life. If you're afraid for your life, what are you supposed to do? Some of you even said, well, if he hadn't did it, this could have happened. Kind of like if that cop hadn't shot the unarmed black man, that unarmed black man could have possibly overpowered him and taken his gun from him. That same logic. That same logic. Like, I really don't know why y'all are so stupid. I don't. I really don't know. I really don't know. Like, y'all don't even think before you say shit. Y'all don't even think before you say shit. And see, here's the other thing about niggas. Niggas are so disingenuous. Even if you make a legitimate point, they'll pretend like it wasn't. But see, here's the problem. When I made these points on panels, some of you had your cameras on. Yeah. So even if you don't want to admit it, I saw your reaction. The first time I said you just justified every cop that has shot an unarmed black man, niggas was like this. Translation. Damn, he got a point. Damn, he got a point. Shit, I didn't think about that. Yeah, you know why you didn't think about that? Because you're fucking stupid. That's why you didn't think about that. That's why you didn't think about that. You're not critical thinkers. You're not critical thinkers. And you're so full of shit that you'll create a biased argument, not even realizing that this new biased argument you're creating just defeated one of your old arguments. This new biased argument you're creating defeated an old argument. You don't even realize it. You don't even realize it. For years, police officers have been saying, I was in fear for my life. Oh my God, you shot him how many times? He was just grabbing his wallet. I didn't know he was grabbing his wallet. He could have been reaching for anything. You do realize your Karmelo Anthony argument literally aligns with those police officers' argument. Because some of you was like, well, if he would have punched Austin instead of stabbing him, he could have still got jumped by everybody. So him stabbing him was the best thing to do. Really? You know what that sounds like? Well, he shot the man because he was reaching in his glove box, claiming that he was reaching for his registration, but he could have been reaching for a weapon. So him shooting him was actually the best action because he could have pulled a weapon out. You're literally using the same logic to defend. And do you know why that logic aligns? Because the cops that was saying that they were fearing for their life, and that's why they shot somebody 20 sometimes because they pulled out a wallet. The reason why that argument lines up perfectly with your Karmelo Anthony argument is because you're all full of shit. That's why. That's why your Karmelo Anthony self-defense argument sounds so much like those police arguments when they shot unarmed people. You're all full of shit. You're only making the argument to justify using lethal force when lethal force wasn't necessary at that time. Karmelo did not have to use lethal force. Just like a cop didn't have to shoot somebody 20 some times for pulling out a wallet. But racist pieces of shit tend to make excuses for certain things.
BINO check. If you're in the building, show your work. Drop 20 on the Super Chat or Cash app.
Boom, 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 boom. Let's get to these BINO roll call. Let's see. Shout out to my man Will. He said, for the love, OG.
That's that BINO energy.
Shout out to Quentin. He said, thanks for the stream, AM.
That's that. That's that. BINO energy.
Shout out to Terrell. He said there needs to be a clear separation established. That's a fact.
That's that. That's that. BINO energy.
Let's see who else we got in the building. Shout out to my man Will again. He said for the roll call and the cash app. Appreciate you, bro.
That's that. That's that. BINO energy.
Shout out to Jay the Transporter in the building.
That's that. That's that. BINO energy.
Shout out to my man Harold with the salute.
That's that. That's that. BINO energy.
Shout out to Lotus Flower. Said love and support. Appreciate you.
That's that. That's that. BINO energy.
Let's see. Who else we got? Shout out to Big Bad Bull. He said, have a great show, brother. Let's go.
That's that. That's that. BINO energy.
Let's see. Shout out to Billy Nico. Said, you know something's wrong when a group of black people turn down a grieving father from praying with them over the tragedy. Since when did black people turn down prayer? Well, you know why they did it, because him coming there to pray with them goes against the they're just racist and this is a racist situation narrative. That's why he did. That's why they did that.
That's that. That's that. BINO energy.
Let's see who else we got. Shout out to High Tolerance for gifting 5 memberships.
That's that. That's that. BINO energy.
Shout out to Jacqueline. Said, yeah, those so-called civil rights dudes is not going to mess around in Texas because they know the WBs are locked and loaded, ready to go. Texas is not Minnesota. No fires or looting is happening. Good show. Appreciate you.
That's that. That's that. BINO energy.
Shout out to my sis Raw G in the building. Said they will talk about you not having a black wife while their children are not fully black and they have white wives. Ridiculous. They will damn near expire if you talk about they wife and kid, though. Flag on the play.
That's that. That's that. BINO energy.
Let's see. Shout out to Tyrone. Tyrone said the community can't imagine the pain of the Metcalf family because race is their God. If both kids were from the community, they'd be quiet. Always backwards and on the wrong side of everything. Keep cutting with truth, AM.
That's that. That's that. BINO energy.
Shout out to High Tolerance. Says salute, AM. It's all about keeping up with the Joneses here in Texas. Factor in the us versus them victimhood, HBCU indoctrination, and this is what you got. Yeah, can't Juneteenth is right around the corner. Yep.
That's that. That's that. BINO energy.
Shout out to High Tolerance again. Said Karmelo Anthony's parents aren't the sharpest pencils in the desk. Karmelo Anthony is a reflection of them, and they're a reflection of Dominique Anderson. The fact they weren't present during impact statements and sentencing speaks volumes. Yeah, it does.
That's that. That's that. BINO energy.
Shout out to John Hanson. Appreciate you.
That's that. BINO energy.
See who we got here. Shout out to Renzo, said, if not, a virgin meant no marriage, and 50K or less meant the same as a standard, the damn bar wouldn't even need to move and still people would fall short, especially since the bar is silver, like Matrix silver spoon. Salute, AM. Appreciate you, bro.
That's that BINO energy.
Shout out to Frankie, said, I haven't heard this much truth in a long time.
That's that BINO energy.
Well, welcome to the show. Shout out to High Tolerance, says, Selective Outrage, they want to treat Karmelo Anthony like a kid on one hand, yet justify him illegally carrying a weapon on the other. You'll see these ninjas buying ammo and deep at the ranges getting ready for the revolution.
That's that BINO energy.
Shout out to Conspiracy Brother Green, said, for the roll call, AM finally caught alive after moving overseas. This 24-hour daylight is crazy.
That's that BINO energy.
Shout out to Cajun Dogfire, said, it was funny to me how I was treated by my family when my cousin was treated after he was incarcerated.
That's that BINO energy.
Hey, that's how it go. That's how it go. Hey, yo, man, we need a sponsor. Somebody sponsor the show on the Cash App side of the game, man. We need a sponsor. Somebody sponsor the show on the Cash App side of the game. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the one thing that I know y'all ain't going to like. Shout out to Danny. He said, you cooking tonight, broski. Appreciate you.
That's that BINO energy.
Since you individuals love to call me anti-black and all of these different things, this is what I'm gonna do for y'all, because I know how much you're gonna love it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play some of the video from Jeff Metcalf. But guess which part I'm gonna play? The part I'm gonna play is him describing what he experienced when he found out his son had lost his life. That's what we're gonna play. That's what we're gonna play. You raggedy pieces of shit. That's what we're gonna play. And why am I gonna play that? I'm gonna play that because some of you niggas forgot your humanity. So I'm gonna remind you of your humanity.
And I made it there in about 4.5 minutes.
Go ahead, sorry.
All right, there we go. So, starting from the beginning, April 2nd, I received a phone call from Coach Jackson and said, Jeff, all I know is Austin has been stabbed. I asked him where. He said Kirkendall Stadium. I immediately hung up the phone and I made it there in about 4.5 minutes. When I arrived, it was pretty chaotic. A lot of police cars, a lot of people. I ran through probably 10 different officers who tried to stop me. When I did reach the track, the scene that I saw was my son, Austin, and they had a C machine on it, which actually it automatically pumps on your chest. But when I saw him, I knew he was gone. I prayed for a miracle. And as soon as that happened, I asked the ambulance, the EMTs, what hospital they were taking him to. And once they instructed me where they were going, I directed my attention to finding Hunter. And they said he was taken to the locker room in the field house. So I proceeded to go run over there. And I found Hunter, who was uncontrollably out of control, bawling, emotional wreck. So I have to try to gather him and maintain myself. And all we do is we pray. And I tell him, let's go.
Let's pause for a second. Let's pause for a second. Tom Cam. I don't even know how to pronounce that, right? She said, is some white kids that unalive their parents. Austin beat his dad and broke his shoulder. And he's supposed to die because he did that? You know what that sounds like? That sounds like when George Floyd lost his life and everybody was talking about how he was a drug addict. What the fuck does him getting into it with his father have to do with Karmelo stabbing him in the chest? What does him getting into it with his father have to do with him getting stabbed in his chest? Just like I asked all of the individuals, what does George Floyd being a drug addict have to do with somebody putting a knee on his neck? So this is what I want you to do. What I want you to do is stop running from chat room to chat room, repeating shit you don't even know is a fact. And even if it was a fact, has absolutely fuck all to do with what happened.
Let's go. I'm taking you to the hospital. You're riding with me. And we get in the car and we're praying. Because I am praying for a miracle at this point, because I know my son was gone. But we get to the hospital. We get in the room. I have to make the phone call to his mom when we were driving to inform her to meet us at the hospital. By this time, the word's getting out to certain family members. Certain people are showing up at the hospital. Takes probably, I'd say, a good 10 minutes before the doctors come in. I knew what was fixing to be said. I knew by the look on their face that Austin had passed away. And they confirmed that. That very second, Hunter spun out of control. And it took 5 officers to get him under control. We had to admit him and get him sedated. And then at that point, they wouldn't allow us to see our son because now it is a crime scene. So they have to process the body. So for over 2 hours, we can't even see Austin. And by this time, a huge crowd of students.
Pause for a second. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Let's see. Wall Street World Report said shows his character as an aggressor. Okay, cool. You said shows his character as an aggressor. So again, this is you making another argument like the police make. Every time a police officer has shot an unarmed black man, after it was said and done, they went and looked at their history and said, oh, well, they have a criminal history, so that justifies it. You stupid ass niggas keep making arguments that actually give validity to the arguments of police who engaged in police brutality. What you should do is shut up and actually think before you start talking.
Parents, friends, is overflowing this hospital. It is so touching and so moving, and we're all so distraught over the news of Austin's passing. That moment, I became totally numb and went into what I call survival function mode. I had to find and buy burial plots, funeral homes, arrangements, so many things that had to be done. And I needed to stay focused. That very first night, our church held an impromptu vigil. Our church holds 1,500 people at Hope Fellowship. It was overflowing. There was over 1,700 people that showed up that night. Very touching. An outpouring from the community, friends, family, even people who didn't know us showed up in support.
Somebody do me a favor. This chick right here, I need y'all to kick her out of my chat room. I need y'all to kick her out of anybody that's this damn ignorant to keep bringing up shit that ain't got nothing to do with what we're talking about. Kick her out of the chat room, please.
And I spoke that night about who Austin was. He was a leader, on and off the field. He touched people's hearts in ways others couldn't. He was loved.
Appreciate it, Will.
By so many, and so many loved him. I told a story that night. And I told the story when I was diagnosed with cancer in my cancer group. They asked us, define success. And it went around the room, and most people, some of the common stuff. Oh, I'd like a big house and car and, a lake property.
Wait a minute. Let's pause for a second. We need a sponsor. We need a sponsor. We need somebody to sponsor the show on the Cash App side of the game. We need at the very least, we need one sponsor. Well, Angryman, why do you need a sponsor? Because the show is fire. And y'all know the show is fire. Y'all know the show is fire. O.W. Teddy said, stop kicking me. Wait a minute. O.W. Teddy, I know damn well you ain't in my chat room. You think I didn't see that shit you were saying about me last night? I know damn well you didn't come sliding your raggedy ass into my chat room. Now, see how that works? You see how that works right there? You see how that works right there? That's why I be trying to tell you niggas. I be trying to tell you when I'm on other people's shows. What's going on, Trey? When I'm on other people's shows, I be telling y'all, you can disagree with me all day, but don't be sitting in the chat room trolling me, because eventually you gonna want to chat in my chat room. And I don't forget shit. I be trying to tell y'all, and then you be somewhere mad because I'm over here talking about a topic that you want to chime in on, and you can't say nothing in the chat. And then you be mad. No, nigga, ain't no need. Look, I'm gonna tell you some real shit. Ain't no need, because at the end of the day, this is how it works over here, nigga. It's consequences and repercussions. So if I'm on another panel and you in the chat room going ham on me, talking crazy about me, you will get banned from my chat room.
Or whatever. But when it came my turn, I had a different view. I said, my success will be judged by how many people show up at my funeral. And what do I mean by that?
We different over here.
Tell them about the gun line, boss.
Matter of fact, before we even go any further, we need at least one sponsor. Press a 1 in the chat if you plan on sponsoring the show. Before we even get to my soliloquy. We need at least one sponsor. We need at least one sponsor for the show on the Cash App side of the game. And look, some of y'all are probably going to be like, but Angryman, why don't you show what Jeff Metcalf said when he said the racist shit? I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why I haven't shown that. Because yesterday, when y'all was calling me a coon in the chat, when y'all was calling me a sellout in the chat, when y'all was saying that I was anti-black and all of that wild shit, you know, all of that shit that I know I'm not, I sat there today and I contemplated. I said, what could I do that would piss these niggas off more than anything in this world? I said, oh, you know what I could do? I could show Jeff Metcalf, but only show the part that humanizes his son. I said, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show y'all the part that humanizes his son. Shout out to Conspiracy Brother Green for being a sponsor of the show.
That's that BINO energy.
It's a lot better than we usually do.
All right, chums, I'm
ready, guys.
Let's do this. Leroy Jenkins.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Conspiracy Brother Green. Yeah, because here's my thing. I don't want to appease y'all. I don't want to make you niggas happy. And when I say y'all, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about you haters. Now, if the BINO Nation asked me, hey, Angryman, can you play this or can you show this or can you show that? Like, I got you. Cool. No problem. If the BINO Nation hit me up and the BINO Nation say, hey, Angryman, I want you to can you do an expose on this? Can you speak on this? Can you? Yeah, sure. Especially if you part of the BINO Nation and you actually contribute to the show. Absolutely. 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 But for you Negroes that love to spread lies about me, for you Negroes that love to say wild shit like Angryman hate black women and Angryman is anti-black and all of this goofy shit, I got nothing for you but dust. That's all I got for you. Dust is all I got for you. Straight dust. Nita said, Angryman, didn't someone say you would lose all your subscribers if you did this show too? Oh, no, this is what this dude said. Now, I need y'all to keep in mind, the guy that said this, he's changed his name. This is how dumb niggas are. He still has the same photo icon, but he just changes his name, right? I got into it with this dude back in 2018, 2019. This particular guy told me, because he used to watch my show, so he know how much I care about my grandmother and how my grandmother passed away. This Negro said that he would piss on my grandmother's grave. And I ain't never forgot it. And what he does is he goes to people's chat rooms that I'm cool with, but he tries to change his name thinking I'm not going to recognize his ass. But he still got the same photo, right? I done seen that nigga in Izzy Band's chat room. I ain't say nothing. He was just in Trey's chat room. The nigga be lurking. He be in different places or whatever. But this is what he said yesterday, right? He said, because I was like, yo, I might have to, when everybody was telling me what Jeff Metcalf said when he said the thing about watermelon felon and all the other racist shit, I said I might have to cook his ass. This Negro said in the chat room, if Angryman do a show like that, he'll lose 500,000 subs. Bruh. You want to know what's funny about that shit? I'm not a panderer. I'm not a pander bear. I don't pander. In fact, anybody who watches me on a regular basis knows that I'll do some shit simply because you niggas expected me to do something else. I'm that type of person. I'm that type of person. Let me tell you something. If I was afraid of losing subscribers, do you think I would talk as much shit as I talk? Do you think I would block as many people as I block from the chat room? Do you think I would have the opinions that I have if I genuinely thought that I would lose subscribers? Thank you, FB. FBGG said, even I know Angry AM is a contrarian. Absolutely. I absolutely am. If niggas expect me to do a show about this, I might do a show about this, the complete opposite, just cuz. Just cuz. But see, here's the thing. My audience don't rock with me just because of content. I could talk about anything. I could get up here and talk about anything under the damn sun. Absolutely anything. People rock with me because of me. Period. Period. And guess what? If I got up here and I said, I can't stand Jeff Metcalf. He's a racist piece of shit, and he should have never said none of what he said. You know how many subscribers I'm going to lose? If I got up here and said, I don't believe he's racist. I think he was just an upset father who said what he said because it was the heat of the moment. He probably was a little tipsy, and he's upset because he lost his son. You know how many subscribers I'm going to lose? See, you goofy niggas don't know how YouTube works. You don't know what a turnover rate is. When you're a big channel, you're always losing and gaining subscribers at the same time. And people do not watch my show because they're looking for a narrative. People watch my show because they're looking for my objective opinion, even if they don't agree with it. That's what people look at my show for. People watch my show for a based, objective opinion. And sometimes y'all agree with me. Sometimes y'all don't agree with me. Sometimes y'all be like, damn, Angry Man, you cooking. You 100% on this. And sometimes you be like, well, I don't know, Angry Man. I don't agree with that. But niggas can't handle that shit. They can't handle the fact that I built my channel the right way. They can't handle that. They can't handle the fact that I built my channel the right way with an audience of critical thinkers. I don't have a pander audience. I don't have an audience that's like, oh, Angry Man, if you don't agree with me 24/7, 100% of the time, I'm leaving. I don't have that type of audience. I've been saying this over and over again. Niggas just don't want to hear it. I don't have a yes man audience. My audience, the people in my audience, especially those that consider themselves BINO Nation, they think for themselves. And they're mature enough to where they can disagree with me without being like, I ain't watching him no more. Look at Jay Jermaine in the chat right now. We was just cursing each other out the other day. We was just going off talking shit the other day. There he is right there chilling. He ain't the only one that I've had disagreements with. I've had disagreements with Ari Nicole. I've had disagreements with what was my other man's name? Damn, I forgot his name. There's numerous people that I've had disagreements with in the chat room. Numerous. No, the reason why that Negro said that shit yesterday is because he wishes there's something I could do that would cause me to lose 500,000 subs. That's what that is. He wishes that was possible. He wishes that was possible. But like I've told y'all many times, like those of you that are content creators, let me tell you something. Building your platform is just like anything else. Anything that comes fast, you can lose just as fast. Anything that takes a while to build, it would take a while to lose it too. And that's just real. Let me pull this back up.
There were so many kids who came up and spoke that night about how Austin touched people's hearts. And that's what you leave is your legacy, your footprints on hearts. That's how people will be remembered. And for anyone who knew Austin, who loved Austin, that memory will be carried on in their hearts forever. I know I'll say his name from the highest mountaintops till the day I die. That was probably the very worst day of my life. When I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer 10, 11 years ago, I thought I was going to die. They told me I had a 50-50 chance. I told God I can't die because I have 2 boys that need their father. I would go through cancer 1,000,000 times again if I could spend 5 minutes with Austin. When you're faced with your own immortality it reprioritizes your life. All of a sudden, things that were important don't matter. You really start to really find out what's important in life. It's the people who love you, the people you love, and those who support you when you're down. You should never, ever put someone down or look down upon someone unless you're giving your hand to help them up. And that's who Austin was. Austin was always the helping hand, the big brother, the protector, the leader. He led by example. And he was humble. He didn't even want to join National Honor Society, even though he had a 4.0, even though he was extremely smart. I told him it looks good on your college scholarship application. All he thought about was football. But when he got between those white lines, even I wouldn't want to go up against him. He turned into controlled rage and chaos. He was a disruptor on defense. He led that team by example. Friday Night Lights, long story short, Friday Night Lights was about Midland, Odessa, Permian. I'm from Louisville. We played Permian every year in the playoffs, semifinals. They beat us every time. Yes, I'm still upset. So, because now they got movies and shows made about them, but it is what it is. Football was a way for Austin to take out some of his frustrations, and he'd work in the weight room, and he'd go do drills by himself and run heels, and he really perfected his craft. He was an unbelievable player. And I know I sound biased because I'm his father, but his numbers don't lie. Go look him up. One game he had 24 tackles. I know. It's unbelievable. He also had interception, fumble recovery. The kid.
Here's another example. Somebody tell me, what did that got to do with this? I told you, I'm gonna keep. Look, I know what. See, here's the thing. This is what this. There's another reason why I'm doing this. I'm not just showing this video of him talking about his son and how much he misses his son and who his son was just to piss y'all off. I'm doing it because I know when you do stuff like this, the demons show up. To everybody watching, what does this message have to do with this shit? What does it have to do with it? But like I said, I'm gonna leave it up to me while I be living proof. Because I know what triggers you demons.
Was amazing. And I know there's only a 1% chance of you ever actually making it to the NFL, but deep in my heart, I really thought that kid had a chance. I know for sure many colleges were already interested in him, D1, for the linebackers. And we were already talking about NIL money and how we're going to, make sure you're set for life. I had no idea his life was going to be so short. I'll never understand why. But you're supposed to trust God, and I do. I don't understand his plan, but I have to lean into him for understanding. And to be honest, I will not understand until I sit beside Austin and ask God, why did you have to take him so soon? Because I can't come up with the answer. No parent should ever have to bury their child. It's not a natural procession. And it's probably the worst pain you'll ever feel. I mean, even if you lost your parent, your spouse, because when I went to my grief group, you know, that's pretty much everyone lost their spouse or something. And I'm the only one who lost a child. And it's very, very different. And I'm not minimizing a loss of other people. I'm saying it's a different type of loss that I pray to God no parent ever has to feel or experience. It will crush you. It will break you. And you will never be the same again. But I said the same thing to myself when I had cancer. Hey, man. Yeah, I've got, side effects, but I'm still alive. You learn to live what your new normal is. Well, I'm a piece of clay that God is molding into whatever I'm supposed to be molded into because I have no idea. I trust him. I'll follow it. And we'll see where it takes me. But at the end of the day, man, the man upstairs, he already knows where I'm going. I wish he'd give me a little bit more signs sometimes of where I am going because sometimes I feel lost. But that's when I lean into him even more because he will guide my path.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's burning your spirits. I know it's burning your souls. All you demons that did this, you just here for the drama. I know it make you mad. I know it does. But you know what time it is?
It's that time again. We going up. It's time to read the super chats.
Let's see who we got here. Yo, shout out to Justin with the 50 spot. He said for the show.
That's that BINO energy.
That boy is good.
Let's see who else we got. Let's see. Shout out to Will. He said exposing the truth.
That's that BINO energy.
See, shout out to Tina. Said thanks for the great content.
That's that BINO energy.
Let's see. Shout out to Ernest. Said don't become a pillar of salt trying to help. Appreciate you. Let's see who else we got. Let's see. Nope. Let's see. We got to get to the 20s first. Let's see. Shout out to Dark Power. Shout out to Malcolm. He said, keep up the hard work, AM. Shout out to Leola. Said, thanks. Shout out to IMP. Says, salute to the light-skinned God, AM. They gonna learn tonight. Yes, they are. Let's see. Shout out to Jimmy. Said, adding to the plate. Appreciate you. Shout out to Maybe Never Late. Said, since I'm taking up chat room space, A BINO donation is the least I can do. If they want to know the Angryman, they should just ask him. Blessings, AM and BINO. Appreciate you. Shout out to Kindred. Said, thought about you since verdict came out. Good to see you again. Folks back in Karmelo need to look up the Ash conformity test. They failed it. Shout out to Dominic. Shout out to Loaded Locks Gaming. Said, big bro for the gun line.
Tell him about the gun line, boss.
Shout out to Kay. Said, folks want to be gangster until the judge decides a sentence. Thank God for your confidence and platform. Shout out to Loaded Locks Gaming. Said, cook. Shout out to the GG Project. Said, thank you for being a solid human. Let's see. Shout out to Ashley. Said, thank you for being a voice in this and speaking truth. Shout out to Maybe Never Late. Said, a race or color cannot be the devil, but the devil can sure use hate or racism between the lines of differences of tribes to sow discord and death. Shout out to Door Jam Bennett. Said, I call that pouring syrup on shit and calling it pancakes. Facts. Shout out to True KD. Said, I just saw a video earlier of a dude pissing on Austin Metcalf's grave and another of a dude and some chick randomly punching white folks over Karmelo and finding it funny. It's disgusting to see. That's a fact. Shout out to my man Will. He said, the truth hurts. That's why they deflect with the lie. Appreciate the 23-month membership. Shout out to One Love. Said, yo, what's up? What's going on? Shout out to Messy Michonne in the building for the 3-month membership. Appreciate you. Shout out to Doug. No, D. Eugene. Said, facts. Appreciate you. Shout out to Cam. Said, AM, I like how you get these goofy ass ninjas together. They're dumb. You're absolutely right. Shout out to K for the membership. Let's see. Shout out to Dig Thug. Said, what's crazy is that when these ninjas saw someone big beating up someone small in school, they didn't help them. They would laugh. Now all of a sudden they want to speak out against bullying. Facts. Shout out to Kale. Said, Karmelo is wrong for overreacting, but also well-behaved, well-raised young men don't remove people that were invited like they're the world's police. No, actually they do. If you was under my tent, and somebody asked me that the other day, if you was under my team's tent and I said, yo, you ain't supposed to be there, and you start popping shit, we gonna get you out from under that tent. And that's a fact. And it's funny to me how you Negroes want to pretend like you don't know that. Y'all are full of shit. Shout out to Akiak. He said he's actually lucky to only get 35 years, first degree in Texas of all places, with an all-white jury. He'll be out by the time he's in his early 30s, still with another chance. And look, you want to know what's funny? What's funny is that brother saying that, talking about some a well-raised. Hold on, let me scroll back. Let me go back. Let me go back. Hold on. Let me read that shit again. He said, damn, why I can't find it? Why can't I find that joint? Damn, I can't find the shit. That's crazy. That's crazy. That is crazy. What's amazing to me, and this will never cease to amaze me, right? It will never cease to amaze me how you niggas love acting like everybody else does the shit that you're also guilty of. So I can't find the damn I can't find the shit, but I will say this. To that person that super chatted that statement, you got a problem with Austin Metcalf telling Karmelo that he can't be under that tent like he the police. Last time I checked, the black community always operates like that. So somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Like, I had to stop for a second just to address this goofy shit. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it or is it not the black community out in Los Angeles telling niggas that come there they got to check in? Wasn't it Kendrick Lamar that put a skit on Good Kid, Mad City where a bunch of kids in Compton was asking a dude, hey, where you from, homie? First of all, I want to know where your mama stay, where your grandmama stay, and based on what answer you give them is going to determine whether they beat your ass or not. Are you niggas really going to sit here and act like Austin Metcalf asking Karmelo to get out from under that tent is some out of the ordinary shit that you don't fucking understand? As much as you niggas be trying to regulate who you niggas, some of y'all, you can't even go to your neighborhoods wearing the wrong colors, wearing the wrong type of baseball hat, wearing the wrong type of sneakers, the wrong type of damn shoelaces. Y'all are some of the biggest hypocrites I've ever seen in my fucking life. The moment somebody white do something, you act like you ain't guilty of the same shit. In fact, in most cases, the shit that you do is worse than what they do. There ain't no white gangs in white neighborhoods, predominantly white neighborhoods, telling white folks that they got to check in to come to that neighborhood. Yo, sometimes I really wonder, I really wonder. The people that come in here and say that stupid shit, do they really think I'm so stupid I'm not gonna catch that shit? Like, seriously, is that what they think? Do they think that I'm so slow that I'm not going to catch that shit? There we go right there. There we go right there. Karmelo is wrong for overreacting, but also well-behaved, well-raised young men don't remove people that were invited like they're the world police. Well, tell that to the Crips. Tell that to the Bloods. Tell that to the Vice Lords. Tell that to the GDs. Tell that to every black community. You want to know what's funny? I was on a panel one night. I think I was on Trey's panel one night. And niggas got to talking about sundown towns. Well, you know, they still got sundown towns in America. I started laughing. I said, well, what's so funny, angry man? Every black neighborhood that you didn't grow up in is a fucking sundown town. Want me to say it again? Want me to say that shit again? Every black neighborhood that you as a black person are not from is a fucking sundown town. Take your ass to O Block at night and you ain't from there. Take your ass to certain parts of Compton at night and you ain't from there. Certain parts of the Bronx, certain parts of Brooklyn, certain parts of Philly, South Side of Chicago. Richmond, Durham, Baltimore. I could go down the list. Exactly, Cam. It don't even got to be night. It ain't even got to be nighttime. It ain't even got to be nighttime. It don't even got to be nighttime. So, do you really have a problem with being out of bounds? Or do you just have a problem with white folk telling you out of bounds? Because guess what? If white folk tell you can't be over there, shit, they can't tell me nothing. I'm going over there. They ain't going to tell me shit. But if a rival gang tell you don't come over here, nah, homie, I don't go over there, because, I don't rock with them over there. I don't rock with them on that side, and they don't rock with me, so I stay over here in my section. So do you really have a problem with the fucking rules, or do you just have a problem with white folks give you the rules? Do you really have a problem with being out of bounds, or do you just have a problem when white folks tell you out of bounds? Because guess what? Guess what? Guess what? To the niggas that want to say, well, Austin shouldn't have been trying to police that tent. He shouldn't have been trying to police that tent. Oh, really? Oh, really? Who was policing Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles when P&B Rock went there and lost his life? Who was policing Slauson when Nipsey lost his life? Who was policing LA when Pop Smoke lost his life? Because last time I checked, it was niggas that did that shit. Where's your protest for that? Where's your outrage for that? Where's your outrage for that? James said, I grew up in Compton, California. The Angryman is 100% correct. Appreciate you. So don't sit up here all of a sudden and act like you don't understand the concept of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Don't sit here and act like Karmelo getting under that tent and them telling him you not supposed to be here is all of a sudden out of the fucking ordinary. Because there's plenty of black neighborhoods that you know your ass ain't supposed to be in and can't go there, because if you do go there, what's going to happen? So don't all of a sudden start acting like you don't understand the concept of out of bounds. Talking about some, the thing about it was, Austin, he shouldn't have been trying to police people and tell them they can't be under a tent. Oh, really? Really? So you upset that Austin Metcalf, the white boy, told Karmelo he couldn't be under that tent? Why you ain't upset that them niggas in Memphis didn't want Dolph buying cookies from a cookie store? Didn't want Dolph in Memphis. Why you had no problem with that? Why you had no problem with that nigga that was hating on Nipsey? Why you ain't had no problem with the dude that shot Tupac or the one that shot Biggie? Why you ain't had no problem with them? Why you ain't no problem with them? Why is it when Austin Metcalf tell Karmelo he can't be under the tent, that's supposed to spark public outrage? But when niggas tell you you can't wear this color, that's just part of the game. When niggas tell you you can't wear a certain hat, that's just part of the game. When niggas tell you you can't be in a section of the damn city, that's just part of the game. Why is it when niggas say you can't wear this color in this neighborhood, why you don't say, no, ain't nobody gonna tell me what I can and can't do? Why you ain't raising hell then? Why you ain't raising hell then? I'm gonna tell you why you ain't raising hell. For the same reason Karmelo showed his ass under that tent, because in his mind, he said, these white boys ain't gonna do shit to me. Because if they try to do something to me, I got something for them. And that's why his ass is in prison. And that's the motherfucking truth. Y'all can keep sitting here trying to pretend like he was just some innocent kid that just happened to get caught up in some circumstances. No, he was a Billy Badass. He was a Billy Badass. And what gave him the heart to be a Billy Badass is he felt like them white boys wasn't going to do shit. Because guess what? If he would have went up under a tent that had a bunch of damn vice lords under it and they asked him to leave, you know what he would have did? He'd have got his ass up, even with that knife in his backpack, and he'd have shuffled his ass along. He'd have went the fuck away from there. If he was up under that tent, if he'd have walked up under that tent and it was a bunch of Crips or a bunch of Bloods or a bunch of Vice Lords or Folk Nation or just random thugged out niggas, when they asked his ass to leave, he'd have been like, my bad, dog, and he'd have went about his motherfucking business. Now, go ahead and tell me I'm lying. Go ahead and tell me I'm lying. Because here's the shit that don't nobody want to acknowledge, and I'm going to say it right now. The only person under that damn tent that was on some predatory shit was Karmelo. Y'all keep acting like he was a victim. He wasn't the victim under that tent. Oh, he was outnumbered and this, that. Get the fuck out of here. Get the hell out of here. He wasn't the victim under that tent. At all. Every time somebody black do some shit like this, y'all try to turn them into the victim. Y'all try to act like they was the victim of circumstance and they was just innocently chilling and some shit happened. No, I'm sorry. I've been a teenage black boy, and I've been a teenage black boy that has had to interact with white teenage boys. And at no point have I ever felt threatened by no white teenage boy. Y'all can say that shit for everybody else that don't know no better. Culturally, black boys that are teenagers are not afraid of teenage white boys. You can stop that shit. You can stop that shit. The whole reason why he was sitting under that tent, popping that shit the way he was popping it, because he wasn't scared of them damn white boys at all. Which is the whole reason why when that white boy had the nerve to put hands on him, he jumped up and stuck his ass because he wasn't scared of him. He wasn't scared of him because guess what? If he was scared of him, you know what he would have did? He would have said, you better leave me alone. That's what he would have did. He would have pulled out the knife and tried to use it as a threat. You better leave me alone. He didn't do that. He took that knife out and said, He wasn't scared of Austin or his brother. He wasn't scared of neither one of them. He wasn't scared of neither one of them. And I get it. You niggas want to say he was scared because that helps your narrative. That helps your narrative. Now, if you want to make the argument, that, well, they was trying to be aggressive, so he was defending himself. If you want to try to make that argument, you can make that argument. But don't be disingenuous and act like he was scared of them, because he wasn't. He wasn't. If he was scared of them, first of all, them white boys didn't get big after he got under the tent. I'm gonna say that again, because some of y'all don't hear it in the back. Them white boys didn't grow after he got under the tent. They was already big before he walked under the motherfucker. So if he was scared of them because of their size, he would have never went under the tent in the first place. Who do y'all think y'all be talking to? Who do y'all niggas be thinking y'all talking to? He didn't walk up under that tent and all of a sudden they started getting bigger and shit. That's not how that worked. Yo, shout out to Don B2G. He said, BINO, appreciate you.
That's that BINO energy.
Shout out to TR for the gifted membership. Shout out to Firebox Guy. Shout out to Firebox Guy again. He said, thank you for being a level-headed, reasonable person. I'm getting sick and tired of all the racism and all the stupid shit. Shout out to Firebox Guy again. He said, another thing is no parent should have to bury their kid ever. And when it comes to the cops, it's time to get rid of qualified immunity. Shout out to Firebox Guy again. said, I don't know what type of cigars are your favorite, but I like the Ghost from Gurkha. And has anybody seen? Well, no, he's not. He's not. He's on Rumble. You got it. You spelled his name wrong, but he's on Number. I mean, he's on Rumble. Shout out to Cash, said the same person defending Karmelo believes Zimmerman should have went to prison for unaliving Trayvon, even though Trayvon was beating up Zimmerman. Damn. See, I never really got into the Trayvon Martin case to get all of the details of it. Like, I've heard people talk about it, but I've never really did a deep dive into that particular case. Shout out to Deborah, said, I lost my brother to drugs when he was 24. My mom was never the same, and my dad eventually passed from a heart attack. It's horrible. Shout out to Viv G, said, people want a reason to hate, so they are pardoned of their own issues when they pawn it as justification, but goes nowhere because the problem's still there. Yep. Shout out to KD, said, it's probably a good reason Karmelo didn't take the stand. Word is he had previous suspensions for weapons. Why was he brandishing weapons online? Shout out to Martin, says, speak the real AM from a black man's point of view. Call out the bullshit. And shout out to Jerome. He said, even Charleston White is spreading the same lies. Yeah, I don't take nothing Charleston White say seriously at all. But let me get to my soliloquy. So, as we all know, Austin Metcalf's father finally spoke. In fact, hold on one second, you guys. We gotta, let me do this real quick. There we go. There we go. So, as you all know, Austin Metcalf's father, Jeff Metcalf, finally spoke. He addressed his son. He addressed the Anthony family, and he said a lot. Now, of course, everybody's going to grab the worst thing he said, the whole watermelon felon. That was crazy work, amongst other things he said that I definitely don't agree with. And he was wrong. You know, he was as wrong as that was, we still got to examine the other things he said. This is why tonight I wanted to do the thing that nobody on the other side wanted to do. Tonight, I wanted to do the one thing that everybody is refusing to do. I'm drawing a line between the accurate statements of a grieving father and the rantings of a man who slid into racism like a comfortable pair of shoes. Because here's what nobody wants to admit. Both of those things can be true. Just because you're wrong doesn't make you a racist. And just because you're a racist doesn't always mean you're going to be wrong. You have to be able to separate these things if you want to make sense of any of this. Just because he said something racist doesn't mean there weren't other things he said in his statement that were actually accurate. Now, let me get this part out of the way first. And I want to get this out of the way because I don't want there to be any confusion. The racist stuff that he said, the watermelon line, the slurs. It's indefensible. I'm not gonna defend a single word of it. I don't like bigotry, no matter what color it comes in. It was goofy, it was wrong, and honestly, it was stupid. Because the way he just buried the truth inside racism, he gave every single person an excuse to ignore the truth. That gave everybody the excuse they needed to walk away from the real points that he was making. So no, I'm not co-signing the racist crap that he said. But I'm also not going to let it erase the part that was true. Okay? So here's the part he got right. And it's the part that makes everybody uncomfortable. Karmelo Anthony is not the victim in this. Austin Metcalf is. His son is the victim. Austin is the one who is never coming back. Austin is the one whose family got a funeral instead of a fundraiser. I've spent the last few days, the last few nights in heated debates with my own people about this trial. And if we're being honest, I'm exhausted. Not because they disagree with me. I can handle disagreement. I'm exhausted because I haven't seen 1 ounce of empathy for the child who actually lost his life. And guess what? Now I actually know why there's no empathy. Let me tell you what a brother said to me directly last night. Now, I'm not going to say his name because I ain't going to put him on blast like that. But he sat right on the panel and said, and I quote, "I don't care about that white boy." That's the quote verbatim. And I appreciate the honesty because it proves my point. It's what I've been saying this entire time. He also told me Karmelo made a mistake. He's just a kid. And a kid shouldn't have his whole life ruined. In fact, I'm going to say that again. He told me Karmelo made a mistake. He's just a kid, and a kid shouldn't have his whole life ruined over a mistake. So I asked one very simple question. I said, doesn't that apply to Austin too? He was just a kid too. Did he have to pay for his mistake with his life? And see, they don't have an answer for that. The only answer they can give you for that is, well, I don't care about the white boy. This ain't about the white boy. No, it is about him because he's the one that lost his life. Here's the reality that many of you need to hear. These two boys are not pawns in your bigoted agenda. They're not soldiers in some race war that all of you, every last one of you, are so desperate to bring to fruition. Karmelo and Austin are not your little chess pieces. This is not a war, no matter how badly you want it to be. This is a horrible situation that destroyed 2 boys and 2 families in one afternoon. One family is burying a son, and the other will be visiting him for the next however many years he's in prison. There's no winner here. And every time you turn these kids into ammunition for your agenda, you're basically spitting on both of them. Let's stay on the logic, because this is where it falls apart for them. If your argument is a kid shouldn't have his life ruined over a mistake, fine. I can agree to that. But then you have to apply it to the kid who lost his life over the same mistake. You don't get to extend grace to one and not the other. You don't get to say, okay, I'm going to extend this grace to the one that's breathing and then deny it to the one that's in the ground. That's not justice. That's not real. That ain't even logic. That's just choosing a side based on skin tone. The very thing y'all claim to hate, the very thing y'all claim decided Karmelo's fate in court. How can you hate what you also participate in? As far as I'm concerned, there's only one standard for everybody. If it's true for Karmelo, it's also true for Austin. So if Karmelo was just a kid who made a mistake and his life shouldn't be ruined over it, Austin was just a kid who made a mistake and he shouldn't have lost his life over it. Now let's talk about something that's been sitting on my mind when it comes to this whole situation. Creators like me, when we speak like this, when we move our families out of the crime-ridden neighborhoods that we all call the ghetto, we get ostracized for leaving the community. We get told we're sellouts. We're not real black people anymore, right? We're not really black. Okay. Well, riddle me this. The Anthony family left the hood too. They moved to Frisco, a predominantly white community, and they didn't look back. So by your own rules, are they sellouts? And if they are, why is the hood going this hard for the family that left the hood? Why are you raising six figures for people who moved away from you? You can't call me a sellout for leaving, say I'm not black, and then create an entire pro-black civil rights movement for the Anthony family. If it were me or my child, the hood would say I got what I deserve. They would say I shouldn't have moved to that white neighborhood in the first place. They would say I got my nigga wake-up call. And here's the contradiction that breaks the whole thing. A lot of you keep telling me that that part of Texas is racist, that those people who live there are prejudiced and always have been. Okay. Then explain to me why the Anthony family chose to move there. Why would you relocate your child into a community you believe is full of racists? Now, let me be clear about something. I believe people should live wherever they want. I'm not knocking them for moving. I'm just applying your rules and your idea of what racism is to this scenario. Because you can't have it both ways. You can't tell me the area is dangerously racist and then tell me there's nothing strange about you planting your family right in the middle of it. You got to pick a struggle because it doesn't make any sense. If we're in a so-called war that you all claim we're in, that's supposed to be this war of race, why do you keep setting up camp behind enemy lines? That really doesn't make sense. So let me give you my honest theory, and then I'll be done with it. I don't believe most of these folks actually care about Karmelo. I don't believe y'all care about his family. This was just an opportunity for the race hustlers to roll out their selective outrage and push whatever agenda pays them this week, or a new way to express their own brand of bigotry. Because in my mind, there's nothing that Jeff Metcalf said in terms of racist rhetoric that y'all haven't already assumed or said about him and his sons. And that's just real. Anything that he said that you can consider a racist comment, you black folk have said that and worse. But here's the thing that's really disturbing. If Karmelo had did this exact same thing to another black kid, same tent, same stabbing, same everything, nobody would care. No one would have sent a single dollar. Nobody would have marched. There would be no news coverage. Nobody would even know his name. That's the tell. The outrage was never about Karmelo. It was about who was on the other side. The truth is, y'all don't care when black people destroy other black people. You only care when black people get into it with white people because you need an excuse to justify your own racism. And that's all I got to say about this particular topic. Y'all can keep arguing about it. Y'all can keep going back and forth about it. It is what it is at the end of the day. Me personally, I'm not going to keep arguing with you Negroes about it. So you can argue with yourself. You can debate with yourself. At the end of the day, I said what I said, and I meant what I said. Salute to everybody that came through. I appreciate y'all for showing love. Appreciate y'all for contributing to the show. All of that good stuff. But with that being said, I'm going to get up out of here, and I'm going to catch y'all on the flip side. Deuces.
The session is closed. The board is dismissed.
I gave you the blueprint, now go build a estate. Stop arguing with broke, man, stop debating with fake. We don't negotiate value, we dictate the price. You watch the show for free, I just gave you a slice. But the real ones know where the equity lives. We taking everything, we got nothing to give. The manual is waiting, you know where it's at. This ain't a gamble, it's a guaranteed bet.
Go protect lead, go and plant the seed. Go protect lead, that's the code we need. Go to the side, yeah, secure the command. The Angryman channel, the standard of the land.
The Angryman.com.
Get the shirt, get the books.
Start watching, start working. We up.